everybody, it's Ramona here again from Connect Your Angels, and this is going to be the 2014 forecast reading. So it's your little sneak peek into what the angels would like for you to focus on each month for the coming year. And when I do these readings, I actually work with multiple oracle card decks because sometimes within the decks, there's similarities in the messages, and when the angels want you to know something, they will keep reiterating it and bringing it and bringing it and bringing it until you pay attention. So it's kind of neat sometimes to see if similar messages crop up through the year, and if so, then you know that that's going to be a big theme that you're going to want to pay attention to. So today I'm going to work with 6 different decks, and I'll just quickly show you which ones they'll be. It's Doreen Virtue's Healing with the Angels. That's that one. And then the Archangels, that deck there. I'm going to work with her newer Indigo deck, which she did with her son, Charles, the Indigo Angel cards. Oops, here we go. What else have I got here? I've got the Angel Therapy deck, and one of my favorites, the Fairies, Messages from the Fairies. And finally, I think this is our last one. This is actually not from Doreen Virtue, but it's the Crystal Messages from the Crystal Kids deck, which I love because I love crystals. So there you go. So I have a heap of stuff all over this desk right now, and it's quite a bit to manage. So I'm going to go ahead and start, and I'm going in no particular order. I'm going to draw a card. So this is going to be for January. Just try to get some semblance of order here. And this will be February. Let me see here. Okay, go like this. This will be for March. April. Oops. And then May. And June. Ooh, that one really, hold on, I have to, literally almost flew out the door. And we're back. Okay, so that's June. That's going to be an interesting one to find out what that was all about. Okay, now that's the first half of the year. Back to the next half here. Oops, July. Just get that out of the way completely. August, September, where am I here? September, October, and November, and finally, December. Okay, there we go. Whew. It's a load of cards all over the place here. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. So for January, we have, ooh, I like this, playfulness. So this is a reminder this month to, let your inner child come out and play. Socially, you may be feeling a little burnt out after the holidays, and you're not really going to want to be in a position to go out and do things, especially if, the holiday bills are starting to come in and now you're looking at that and going, yeah, ouch. So you're going to want to conserve a little bit financially, but there's a lot that you can do, with staying home, maybe having some friends over, don't go out, drink the booze you got for Christmas as gifts, and play some cards or do whatever, just to, cut down on expenses. But really it's not just on the social aspect, it's more about letting your inner child come out to play. And what I mean by that is doing the things that make you happy and make your heart sing and bring you joy. So these are tiny things that don't have to have a big expense or a big, doesn't take up a big chunk of your time. If you love to knit or do something creative with your hands and you just haven't been doing that, try to find, 10, 15 minutes every day to do that. Or if you love music and you haven't really been, listening to any, put on a song, put on your favorite CD or whatever and listen to that. Or maybe you like, used to be physically active and you haven't been, but you really enjoyed it when you were. So add that back in. It's just finding the things that, like I said, that really you love to do, and maybe you've gotten away from it for a while. And so now is the opportunity to bring that back. Okay, so you can think about that for February or January. See, I'm jumping ahead now. February. Ooh, this is good. You've got the power. Every time I see this card, I get that, that 80s song in my head, that dance song. But yes, I'm aging myself now. Use your abilities to resolve the situation. You can do it. So what they're saying is, before, if something comes up and you're panicked about it a little bit and you're kind of like, ready to run in whatever direction and go to somebody else, or, think that your answers are outside of you, stop for a minute, think about it, and probably you actually already have all the answers you need, or it's something that you can get without you having to go to an extraneous source for that information or for that resource. You will have it kind of at your fingertips, but in the stress of the situation, you forget about that, and so then you're going to end up taking extra time to go running after it, and really you don't need to do that. So take control of the situation, right? That's what it's partly about, and remember that you have the power. You have everything within your grasp that you need to resolve the situation, just like the card says. Okay, so that's for February. March. Oh, good one. I like this one. Shield yourself. Okay, shield yourself. That's Archangel Michael there with his shield and his sword of light. And I will read to you. It says, protect yourself from harsh or fear-based energies by envisioning a cocoon of healing light surrounding you. This technique is my favorite, and I counsel everybody almost that I come into contact with to adapt this practice daily. Okay, it's not a one-time fix-it. So this is something you can start doing now, but especially pay attention to this in March, because you may find yourself around harsher people, situations, circumstances, environments where you're going to need to practice your shielding to protect yourself from harsh energies. So just call on Michael and ask him to surround you in the white light of God's love and divine protection. And that way you can give freely of yourself. You are not going to have to worry about being impacted by the energies around you, especially in workplace. If you have to go to busy public places like government buildings, hospitals, shopping malls, those types of places that you can really be impacted by all that swirling energy around you, shielding will really help. So make sure you're doing that now and into, especially like I said, March. Okay? April. Oh, this is nice. Imaginative is the key word on there. And the stone is snowflake obsidian, which is neat. It's a little, in this picture it's little, but it's a black stone and it has white patterning on it that almost looks like a snowflake, hence the name. And I like these cards a lot because they come with affirmations that you can use. So, and you can use them on multi-levels. So for April, if you have the stone, snowflake obsidian, you can carry it around with you. You can put it in your pocket. You can keep it at your workstation at work. And this is a really good one. We talked about the shielding yourself. So some of that harsh energy can be following you into April. And obsidian is a great stone that you can use to ward off negativity. Anything black. So obsidian, black tourmaline, jet, hematite, all of those stones, also smoky quartz, all those stones are really good for warding off negativity. But you may want to work with this one, or if, like I said, if you have it, carry it with you. If you have it in jewelry, you can wear it. If you don't have any of that, you can use sort of black and white colors in your clothing. But I want to read you the affirmation that you can use through the month of April. I am able to express myself creatively. Nice. So this is going to be a time of opening up your creative, expression. Maybe you'll be getting new hits or new ideas, new divine inspiration. So put that into practice now, or maybe over the winter months you've been getting some ideas and they've kind of been the seeds that have been planted. So now with April and the springtime energy, it's going to be time to start to put some of those things into action. Or like I said, if you've planted the seed, you might start to see things happening now. And it's really about your intention too. It's one of the keywords on this card. So setting your intention, what you intend, you get. So make sure you are keeping your intentions in line with your actions and that those two things match up. Okay, keep that in mind for April. All right, as we move into May. Oh, this is nice. Hello from heaven. So some of you may have more of a difficult time in May because you've lost some loved ones, and that might be the anniversary of their passing, or it could be, life events at that time, maybe weddings, anniversaries, birthdays occurring where you feel you miss that person, and you feel sad because you feel like they're missing out on what's happening in your life, perhaps in your family's life. If you're a mom yourself now, or a dad, and you have your own children, and you're thinking, your deceased loved ones aren't seeing those children, this is their way to validate that they do see you, they are with you, and not to worry about them. They are fine in spirit, everything is well, and not to dwell on any worries or concerns that you might have, regarding them. And if you get a little hint that they're with you, acknowledge that. Just say, hi, whoever you think it is, or so-and-so, is that you? Because our deceased loved ones work really, really hard to make their presence known, and when we acknowledge it, they're just thrilled to pieces. They really are. So maybe in the month of May, you want to just really pay attention and notice if you get a feeling, or all of a sudden you might have a smell that you associate with them, right? A perfume or a tobacco smoke or something that comes out of nowhere. Things like that. So really kind of have your antenna on high alert during May, and just see if you pick up any of your deceased loved ones around you. And like I said, if you do, just acknowledge them, and they will be very happy. And just to know that they're always with you, okay? Into June. This was the card that flew across the floor, literally. Like, that's a good, 10 feet over there. So the card is self-care. Self-care. This is going to be key for everybody in June, but they're saying, don't wait, God, don't wait half a month or half a year to start putting this into practice, okay? This is something you're going to want to remind yourself of in June, but you can start it now. And the thing with self-care is that we often forget to do it, right? We figure, we are so busy and everybody's needs kind of come before ourselves, and we forget to take that time for ourselves. And really, we look at it all backwards. We have it in our mind that, when this is done, and this is done, and this is done, and that's crossed off my list, then I can relax. Then I can, take that vacation or do whatever. And it's like, no. You need to do those things all the time, because when you do, you are happy, you feel good, and when you feel those feelings, those are high vibrating feelings, and as a result, your vibration will be lifted. And why that's important is because when you are in that high vibrating range, you are going to start to manifest or draw into your life all the wonderful things that you've been working so hard to achieve. The optimal relationship, the optimal career, the optimal lifestyle, home, whatever. All those things will start to happen, and as long as you keep your vibration high and you follow the guidance that your angels are sending you. So make sure, you aren't getting so worn down, and that's why the shielding is important too, because if you don't shield yourself, you can really start to feel the effects of that negativity around you, and you might start to feel like you're dragging I call it the wet blanket feeling, the heavy wet blanket around with you, and you don't want to feel that way. So taking care of yourself is very important, and make sure you're giving yourself permission and know that it's okay. And it's good to do those things. It's just as good as hygiene. You wouldn't beat yourself up because you brush your teeth and take a shower every day. And that's the same sort of mentality that you have to have regarding self-care. Okay, so, don't feel guilty if you go and sit in the bathtub for 20 minutes, right? And especially if you throw some sea salt in there, which is really detoxifying, that's good for you. Don't beat yourself up if you want to head outside for a jog and not take the baby in the baby stroller. That's okay. That's your time, right? You don't want to have to stop every 3 minutes to, give them their blanket and their toy that they threw out and check to see why they're screaming and things like that, right? So all those things, it's okay. Give yourself permission. All right. Where are we? July. July is about celebration. And there are some great celebrations in July. I know in Canada we have Canada Day. Our friends in the US have Independence Day. So there's usually lots of family things going on and friends getting together. So it's also a sign that there could be some things worth celebrating come July. So all your hard work and things that you're planning now and all the seeds that you're putting into the ground are going to start to, come to fruition in that July timeframe. So what they're saying is don't quit before the harvest. There are going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be ups and downs. Sometimes there's going to be starts and stops. It's 3 steps ahead and 2 steps back. But stick with it, because otherwise you won't see the reward at the end, right? So keep going, and then the harder the journey, the more sweet the celebration at the end, right? The victory is definitely worth it when you look back and you see all the hard work you put into it. So don't quit before the miracle. They're saying keep going, and then there's going to be great times ahead. All right. Ooh, I like this one too. So this is into August. September. Okay, I'm just making sure I'm telling the right months. Ask for what you want. Ask for what you want. Simple as that, right? And I'll read to you what it says. Let the universe and other people know what you need. My mother used to say, well, she still says this, but she said, I walk on water, but I don't read minds. Meaning, if you want something, you have to tell me what you want, and I will do my best to make it happen. But yes, we are not mind readers. We need to know where the other person is coming from. So speak up, tell people what you want, and especially speak with your angels, your guides, the universe, whatever, and let them know what you want. Because if they don't know, it's not that the angels won't help you, but it will take them a lot longer to figure it out. So if you can make it crystal clear for them and say, here's exactly what this is that I want. I want a new job. I want to work for somebody else. I want this type of salary. I want my ideal boss would look like X, Y, and Z. I'm going to be in an office with a lovely window, a plant, a big picture on the wall. The coworkers that I have are going to have these characteristics. The clients that I'm going to work with are going to be like this, this, and this. That's getting really detailed and specific, right? So that's the kind of thing you want to do. Get really, really clear and specific on what you want, and then ask for it. Make sense? All right, so keep that in mind for August. September. Oh, God box. God box. A God box is just any kind of receptacle. It can be a box, it can be a jar, it can be a bowl. And what you want to do with this, I'll read you what it actually says on the card. It says, write any worries, concerns, or desires on a piece of paper that you put in a special container called a God box. And this is as a way of letting go and allowing the divine to help you, right? Too often what happens is we're worried or concerned or things, and we just hold that in, and we kind of just sit there, and it festers. And again, worry is an emotion that has a low vibration, which doesn't really help you. It's going to, in fact, hinder you from manifesting great things. So, why worry? It's going to take up too much time and energy and probably will never happen anyway. So what you can do to make it more, useful is write it down. Write it down and put it on a piece of paper. Essentially, when you write it down, it's like you writing a letter to your angels and to the universe, asking them for help with this particular issue, right? And when you put the letter in your God box, it's almost like you sending it away in the mailbox so that they can receive it on the other end and start getting to work on helping you with that. So that's one way you can look at it. It's kind of fun because you can, if you want to, you can go shopping and just wait till you're inspired and you see something you think, oh, that's going to be it. That's going to be my God box. Or take what you have around the house and then embellish it. Paint a box, add some kind of fancy dancy things to it, sparkle it up or whatever you want to do. And that's kind of a fun little project. And even kids can get in on that. So it's kind of something fun you want to do. But again, this isn't something you have to wait until September to do. You can do this now. But in September, pay attention. And if some big worries and concerns or things are coming up, then make sure you're using this as a technique to deal with that worry instead of just sitting there and, like I said, letting that worry fester within you. Okay, into October. Ooh, Ruby. that's all about protection. We're getting some, repeated sort of messages about protection because we've got the shielding and using the snowflake obsidian to sort of ward off negativity. And this is actually reminding you, the affirmation on here is saying, I know that I am protected by God. That's a very comforting feeling, right? And it's a very powerful feeling because it's kind of like, yeah, I know I don't walk alone. I have all this sort of spiritual protection around me. So you can use this affirmation through October. Again, it's, I know that I am protected by God. If you have rubies, wear them out in October, or wear something red, right? And that also corresponds with the root chakra. That's at the base of your spine. And that has to do with, being secure. So having all of your basic needs met, enough food, clothing, shelter, all of that stuff. So if there's any concerns that you have around those things, wearing red or working with ruby can help to enhance and balance the root chakra for you. So you can do all of those things in October. That's why I said I like those cards, because it works on multi levels. All right, now into November. The card says divine order, and you see those scales there, they're a little bit unbalanced, right? They're not exactly equal. And I'm going to read to you the message. Everything is how it needs to be right now. Look past the illusion and see underlying order. So, November is a very busy time. It's chaotic, there's lots going on, it's the holidays. So basically, we already lead busy lives anyway, and now on top of that, you've got, this excess stuff, right? Shopping, cooking, entertaining, all these things added to your plate. So just know that, if that time is seeming incredibly unbalanced, it's kind of just how it is, and you have to go a little bit with the flow during that month. There may be other things going on, though, that just maybe came up out of nowhere that you weren't expecting, and that can really throw people for a loop. And you're gonna think, what is going on here? And what they want you to know is it's how it needs to be for right now. So even though it feels unbalanced, they're showing me kind of like a surfboard, like you kind of just got to ride it out, and down the road it'll all make sense to you why you kind of needed to go through that part. And there is going to be an end in sight. It's not going to stay like that forever. But sometimes the imbalanced part is part of the transition of the angels getting you from point A to point B. And I always say part of their job is, it's like a connect the dot puzzle, right? They are going to work to get you connected to the right people, the right circumstances, the right whatever. And they work really hard to line all those dots up so you can get from here to here, and then from here to there, and whatever. So in that process of connecting the dots and moving you through where you need to be, sometimes that can be a little bit of a bumpy road. So when that happens, or if that happens, just know it's part of the process, and they will get you through to the other side. Okay? And now, 1 year later will be the card Compassion. It's a big message coming up this year for a lot of people, actually. Oh, sorry, it's not focused. In 1 second. See if it'll focus on that. Don't know why this camera does that. There we go. Compassion. What I'm hearing is this is more about looking at yourself with compassion, because a lot of you really beat yourself up. And December especially is that month when we're all kind of looking back on the year and thinking, all those wonderful goals and aspirations that I set out for myself in January, have I met them? Where am I now? Did I measure up? Did I not? Did I fall short? Did I fall way short? What's going on? And if you didn't quite meet all those milestones that you have wanted to, our natural inclination is to really do a number on ourselves and beat ourselves up, and our self-esteem plummets, and it just becomes this vicious cycle, and there's all this negative self-talk, and we're like, oh, why have I been so stupid? I do the same thing every year. I said all these crazy things and nothing ever gets accomplished, and blah 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 blah, right? And your mind just goes a mile a minute telling you all these things. So here's a fair warning in advance. Have some compassion with yourself. Next December, maybe it's not such a great idea to look back in that way. Instead, have something good to look back on. So this is something that came up to me that I recently heard about that I'm going to be doing. And what you can do right now is get out a jar or any kind of, again, box, receptacle of whatever kind, and keep it in a place where you're going to see it. And each time something good happens this year, write it on a slip of paper and add it to the jar, right? It could be something really funny. It could be a goal you did achieve. It could be a surprise gift that somebody gave you. It could be something beautiful in nature that you noticed that just really made your heart sing that day when you noticed it, or you had the most perfect day ever, right? Any of those things that just really are feel good to you, write them down and put them in your jar. And then on New Year's Eve of this year, you can open up the jar and read them all out loud to yourself and say, you know what, yeah, maybe I didn't quite meet up to X, Y, or Z, but look at all these other fantastic things that happened to me. And that way you will be on a higher vibration, feeling good about yourself instead of kind of going into the new year beating yourself up, right? That's a little more positive. So there you have it. I would say, I'm just looking at all of this, overall, this is looking like a very, very positive 2014, and I do have a very good feeling about this year. I think it's going to be a year of transition for a lot of people, but in a good way, in terms of sort of inner growth, spiritual growth, whatever you want to call it. A lot of learning is going to be going on. It might be self-directed learning that you're going to be wanting to just really dive right in and maybe take some workshops, courses, classes, read more, whatever that might look like for you, but it's going to really help to transition you along your path. So I think those are all great things, and I'm excited to really see how this year unfolds. So keep this video handy. Oh, and just one more thing I want to mention. So even though I've kind of laid out the months here, the effects of some of these things can start maybe a couple of weeks before the next month starts, and even continue into the following month. So by the middle of the month, you might want to just look up what the next month's message is to see if you notice that it might be happening already, or there's a situation where you could put some of the message or some of the guidance into practice already because that situation has already presented itself or whatnot. So just to keep that in mind, be aware of that, because it's not always a specific science that this stops on the 30th or 31st and starts on the 1st type of thing, right? So keep that in mind. And keep me posted. Let me know how your year is going. You can always post a message here on YouTube, or you can visit me at my Facebook page, Connect to, that's the number 2. Your Angels is my Facebook page. Drop me a line, let me know how it's going, or email me at spiritualmailman, and that's all one long big thing, spiritualmailman at connect, then the number 2, yourangels.com. So spiritualmailman at connectyourangels.com, and you can just let me know how things are going. I would love to hear how the year is, and if you're finding these messages helpful as the year goes. So I'm wishing you many, many angel blessings for 2014, and like I said, here's to great things coming up in the following months, and we'll see you here soon. Thanks.